the average annual temperature here hovers around 1 degree Celsius, with the lowest temperatures plunging to minus 33 degrees. The thin air of the plateau region intensifies solar radiation at the surface, while the diurnal temperature swings between extremes. By April, the plateau permafrost begins to thaw, breathing life back into the wilderness. Migratory birds sense winter's retreat and usher in another round of migration, entering another period of breeding new life. The black-necked crane is the only crane species that breeds on plateaus among the 15 species worldwide. For a long time, this plateau dweller remained shrouded in mystery. It was not until the 1980s that the secrets of its life began to unravel. For people sharing this land with them, the crane's annual punctual return over millennia has always carried an air of wonder and grace. Isolated from the outside world, this plateau nurtures a unique way of life.
Timusgan do chona namina lapsia chung de tong ta de o meira de che tong. Timur ta to de namina lapsia xia de xia tam chi gno ni xia de lapsia.
Departing from Chengdu, the capital of Sichuan province in China, crossing the Hongduan Mountains and traversing the deep valleys inhabited by giant pandas, we arrive at the eastern edge of the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, where the vast Ruo'ergai grassland unfolds. The whole journey takes approximately 9 hours by car. Although a plateau, it is a wetland nourished by meandering tributaries of the Yellow River. This plateau wetland is the world's largest plateau peat swamp, with a total area of about 30,000 square kilometers. By late October, the wetland begins to freeze and does not thaw until next April. As summer approaches, the plateau, hardened by winter, undergoes a dramatic transformation and becomes a paradise for plateau flora and fauna. Black-necked cranes resemble red-crowned cranes in appearance. Yet, their high-altitude habitat grants them a more compact build and a lighter weight. A more striking distinction is that the black feathers cover 1/3 of their necks. With a small patch of white feathers behind their eyes. Cranes migrating to breeding habitats usually live in family units. Mated pairs move in perfect synchrony, soaring, calling, or dancing with the same rhythm. Any lapse in coordination would jeopardize their shared duty of egg incubation. This pair is preparing to build a nest, while bracing for the hectic and demanding breeding season. Legend holds that once black-necked cranes choose mates, they forge an eternal bond, inseparable until death. The beauty of the black-necked crane lies not only in its grace amid harsh conditions, but also in its enigmatic and romantic life story.
我们在若尔盖对黑颈鹤的调查，主要是围绕黑颈鹤繁殖生态展开的。沼泽地，因为它相当于说下边淤泥很深，人要进入是有一定困难性的。特别是假如只有你一个人的时候，进去要找到那个巢，其实没有像我们看上去那么容易。
The wetland seems flat and endless, but stepping into it reveals its undulating contours. This unique landscape is shaped through repeated freeze-thaw cycles on the Earth's surface. Predators like Tibetan wolves and foxes avoid getting their fur wet. For in this land that becomes extremely cold after sunset, soaked coats could mean freezing to death.
比如说之前有一次，我听我的一位师兄说，当时在那边一个沼泽地里边，看到沼泽地里边有一条沟，他当时一般来说是会扛着一块木板，为了安全扛着一块木板架到脚底下。当时他试了一下，把那块2.6米的木板插到了那个沟里边，是完全插不到底的，而且那个水深本身只有大约40-50厘米，下边的全是淤泥。也就是换句话说，假如人掉到那里边的话，附近的人扭头连个泡都是看不到的。据我们的调查，最早繁殖的鹤可能在4月上旬左右就已经可以产下它的第一枚卵，而晚的鹤甚至要到6月中下旬的时候才开始产卵。
A pair of black-necked cranes settles in the wetland. During the breeding season, the female typically lays 2 eggs, occasionally 1. Whether twins or a single chick, surviving on the plateau and mastering flight before winter demands overcoming immense challenges and making great effort. New life emerges once more on this plateau. Will they survive? On the high slopes of Ruo'ergai County stands Dajia Monastery. For generations, people have lived along the riverbanks under its watchful presence. This land shelters about 80,000 souls, 90% belonging to the Tibetan ethnic group. Beyond the county town stretches endless grasslands and pastures, sustaining traditional nomadic life of the Tibetan people. The Sichuan Ruo'ergai Wetland National Nature Reserve Administration, colloquially known as the Wetland Administration, dedicates itself to monitoring and safeguarding the grassland and wetland flora and fauna.
我们可以看到，这些是所有手工在填写的一些记录表，里面包含了一些信息：观测点的经纬度、领域鹤的数量、群鹤的数量，还有它们的行为。
The annual survey on the black-necked cranes has become an increasingly vital task for the Wetland Administration in recent years.
其实也就是这些了，是吧？就这些。
我们这次监测要4天，阿西啦、日尔大坝，然后再就是住在拉姆寺，今天晚上啊。
Li Fengshan, who began his career in 1993, acts as the program director of the International Crane Foundation here in China. He has provided crucial guidance for the conservation of black-necked cranes.
就填什么吧？这是第一个点吧，东边第一个点吧，你就填东边第一个点行。看看，有鹤是吧？反正这2只的话呢，就是它是属于那么一家子的嘛。嗯，对。然后这个地方就是属于2只，填2只行。
The survey team stops every 2 kilometers to conduct observations. On the other side of the road stretches an expansive wetland where black-necked cranes nest and raise their young. They now ascend a hillock that offers an unobstructed vantage point. While invisible to the naked eye, survey data reveals dense nesting clusters in this wetland. The cranes have remarkably keen eyesight, enabling them to spot objects from vast distances.
全部都飞过来了，但是你每天它这个鸟本来它也不在一个固定地方坐到起，就像你刚才说的，假如我们以公路为界的话，公路要外面的飞进来了，我没算，说不定我们来晚的话，它这已经飞出去了的也有这些情况。
黑金鹤的话呢是应该是从2000年左右吧，这个数量还是比较稳定，就是应该1万只左右吧，还是比较稳定的。国际鹤类基金会来讲，黑金鹤也是一个重要的物种嘛。就是若尔盖是黑金鹤种群的一个主要的繁殖地，但的话呢，它这个繁殖地到底有多少鹤，或者说它的范围多少也不太清楚。就是从2014年以来吧，我们一直是资助这个四川大学生命科学学院，然后在若尔盖做一些个黑金鹤的生态方面的研究。通过跟他们合作的话呢，我们就是定位了有80多个黑金鹤的巢，就是应该是在历史上这么多年上从来没有定位了这个80多个黑金鹤的巢，而且就测量它的那个巢的草的大小啦，然后水深啦，很多的巢的这个因素，并且呢还对巢来进行分类，然后就是看看哪些巢应该是黑金鹤比较最喜欢的。
Ruo'ergai Flower Lake, a crucial breeding habitat for black-necked cranes migrating to the Yunnan Guizhou Plateau, lies over 40 kilometers from the county town.
看不着，就这样吧。没有，看不见，看不见小河。这个是我们花湖的那个监测点的第一个点，反正每年也都是能够见着2对鹤左右吧，这个附近。
Ruka, a Tibetan living at the Flower Lake Observation Station, protects this wetland and the black-necked cranes that live here.
前段时间就是小鹤的时候，喂小鹤的时候，他第一次看见就是大的黑金鹤抓了青蛙嘛。抓了以后就在小鹤的面前就给它吐出来了。
吐出来以后，他给它撕碎了。
他要不要就是要把小羊吃了？啊？小羊。
把小羊吃了？
不是，他要吃小羊。但是这边的有些放牧的，要不要把那个狐狸就
把它给弄了？
撵了。
Ruka lives in this small cabin. Every day, he patrols near the nests of the black-necked cranes in the wetland. Flower Lake is the most iconic summer tourist destination of Ruo'ergai.
好多有游客嘎，他们那个意思是害怕游客人太多了，天天坐到那个观景台，我看他游客中午哈太多人太多了， 他们那个害怕人近得很，就是他们有些人咱都是下去就是看黑金河，所以我不能去，他们也懂，我给他们说他们不看。
Black-necked cranes usually build their nests far from humans. But this year is different. A pair of cranes built their nest near the Flower Lake Scenic Area.
我这08年回来的，一直都没有。今年这就回来的。今年这黑金还太大了，这就是就没得位置了，就他就新的就这回来的。
They might be a young pair that lacks nesting experience. Up close, you can see 2 eggs in the nest, which have not yet hatched and are constantly at uncertain risk. The grassland offers no place to hide. If targeted by predators, there is no escape. Building a nest near a tourist attraction raises concerns about whether this young pair can protect their 2 chicks. Will they hatch? Even if they do hatch, they will still face challenges. Ruo'ergai also took us to see another black-necked crane nest.
9月19号，下的凶得很，大雷，他就是水里面，他就是，我过来就是他就是冷了，我这里还有，你看，他太冷了，就我把衣服给他就停，下雨好了就把我就他把我带走。
Newly hatched chicks have only thinned down feathers, making it hard to maintain body heat and even harder to survive the cold nights on the plateau. Fortunately, Ruo'ergai, the guardian, found it and saved it. But the future of this chick remains uncertain. Black-necked cranes prefer to nest in wetland environments. Besides being close to water and food sources, this choice reflects a necessary survival instinct for plateau life. Because wetland environments, like swamps, lakes, or riverbanks, hinder the approach of large predators or humans, reducing threats to their lives. If they do not nest in wetland environments, it will be very dangerous for the newborns. For example, in grassland areas like this, the terrain is easy to traverse, with no uneven ground. If a nest is discovered, it can be easily approached. There seems to be traces of black-necked cranes living here, but none are nearby. Perhaps this nest has been abandoned.
《藏族历史已经有很多年了，但是它受那个佛教的影响，就成了一个独特的藏文化。就是我们的这个跟到环境保护有关的，因为藏传的这个风水学里面就把天视为父亲，地视为 作为自己的母亲，山作为自己的兄弟之类的。这个草就是自己的身上的汗毛，就地皮就是自己的人的这个皮子。所以藏族人特别害怕自己下辈子就生长在一个没水的地方，特别破烂的地方，所以就用自己的一切去保护这些。
我们这边是结婚早，我是结婚19岁才结婚，我生过儿子，大儿子在家里放牧放羊。你们7月份过来时，我家里马上去可以吗？
好。
我家里儿子媳妇，我儿子媳妇，他们在家咱们牧场都是毛驴都在这有。
In spring, flowers burst into bloom across the grassland. Plateau life forms adapt to survive this harsh region. To endure frigid temperatures, aridity, and relentless winds, plants adopt tight clustering and low-lying profiles to preserve vital warmth in these extreme conditions. This is nature's embrace against adversity. During this season, waterfowls at the flower lake begin to rear their young. The young crane pair that nested at the Flower Lake Scenic Area has now 2 chicks. It seems the chicks have safely hatched. When we went to visit the single chick family Ruo'ergai saved, the parents seemed very vigilant. As we approached, the mother first called out and flew away to divert our attention. The father quickly followed suit. As the chick could not yet fly. When danger approached, the parents created a diversion to buy time for their young. We tried to locate where the chick might be, but found nothing in the grass. The parents would surely return for it later. The diet of black-necked cranes is quite diverse. Roots, small fish, insects, and frogs. They occasionally prey on the chicks of other waterfowls. After hatching, crane chicks follow their parents around to learn foraging skills and expand the range of activity gradually from the nest as the center. black-necked cranes often venture into the herders' grazing areas, which are demarcated by barbed wire and wooden stakes, marking each family's grazing boundaries. This family of 3 approaches the barbed wire at a pasture. Which marks the boundary of the herder's pasture. For the black-necked cranes, these barriers pose no obstruction. The parents walk along the barbed wire, while the chick is eager to explore, playfully dashing away and momentarily hiding in the grass unnoticed. To locate the chicks, parents employ unique strategies. They use vocal calls to confirm each other's positions. It's said that during incubation, parents begin communicating with their chicks through sound to familiarize the chick with their calls. At this moment, they came upon a twin chick family at Flower Lake. After a period of mutual scrutiny, the mother signaled her identity and proclaimed her territory with resonant calls. During the breeding season, black-necked cranes operate in family units. This encounter likely marks the twins' first sight of adult cranes beside their parents. Both chicks brim with inquisitive energy. After a brief inter-family exchange, the single chick parents resume their search for the hidden offspring. The mother scans the area along the barbed wire. While the father calls out and flies behind the wire, the family finally reunites without incident. Venturing alone exposes chicks to numerous threats. Tibetan foxes, wolves, and raptors like eagles are all dangerous. Statistics suggest the chance of a crane chick surviving its first year is only about 1/3. Yet, on the plateau, the natural climate perhaps reigns as the ultimate challenge. For chicks that can't regulate their body temperature well, rain poses a significant threat. The parents take turns sheltering their chick beneath their bellies, which is not an incubation behavior, but a survival tactic to preserve body heat. as they are in a grassland with no place to hide, they have to move on and find a safe place to settle down. Ruo'ergai takes us to the pasture where his eldest son lives. Which is 7 or 8 kilometers from the county town. This is the nomadic herder's traditional black tent, where they live in the summer.
这是牦牛那个叫什么？不是羊嘛，牦牛嘛，牛嘛。以前一年他就维修，就是一年就是他这个，把一年就是随便上一个就来，一年就上2个，有新的，这个是这都是最新的这个，这是新的，你看。
哪个地方来？
那个
啊，
那个是牛的骨头，牛死了的这个里面，我们那个我说不来，那个就这个骨头。
为啥子要用一个？
它就是个文档嘛。
On plateaus where crops cannot grow, people survive through pastoralism. In addition to yak bones used for anchoring the tents, dairy products crafted from yak milk are essential to their livelihood. Yak dung, decomposable once frozen, becomes a fuel that herders use to keep warm. Here, human survival intertwines with yaks. The geological evolution of the Qinghai Tibet Plateau has shaped rock-dominated strata where few plants take root. Yet, Ruo'ergai's vast wetlands and grasslands owe their existence to millennia of organic sedimentation. The remains of flora and fauna, which are unlikely to decompose, compress into the soil, continually depositing. The accumulation rate is typically less than 1 millimeter per year. It takes tens of millions of years for peatlands to form on a significant scale. A tributary of the Yellow River meanders through the grassland. When the river rises, the water tends to overflow and flood the grassland. A pair of black-necked cranes seem to be on the lookout for a nesting site. Here, a puddle has formed from the river overflowing, which differs from the wetlands that dot the Flower Lake. It looks like they've decided to settle here. Nearby, a marmot colony inhabits burrows. A few days later, in the nest the black-necked crane's couple built, 2 eggs appear. The herbivorous marmots are unlikely to harm the black-necked crane, but their presence may attract other predators, such as Tibetan foxes. The crane parents grow increasingly anxious as a tense breeding season approaches. Meanwhile, at the county's wetland administration, training for wetland guardians commences. Ruo'ergai is among them. All trainees are local herders familiar with wetland areas. Since 2008, Ruo'ergai has been a wetland guardian. As time passes, the scope of conservation for these guardians keeps expanding from wetlands to animals. In summer, strong sunlight, an unstoppable atmosphere. And increased rainfall expose the grasslands to flooding. Once flooded, large puddles will form. Endangering countless flora and fauna. In the harsh natural environment, the course of life may be changed at any moment. The crane couple nesting by the riverside appears to be facing uncertain prospects. Their submerged nest is covered with thick mud, and the unhatched eggs in their nest may have been washed away by the river. On the plateau, some legacies endure while others do not. The natural environment holds an absolute sovereignty over the survival of the creatures here. After the summer solstice, lower solar angles amplify temperature swings, and frost dominates the lengthening nights, which means the harsh winter looms. Black-necked cranes are preparing their departure and mapping migration routes to wintering grounds. The crane twins now match their parents in size. They, no longer able to hide in the grass, are supposed to prepare for their migration. The crane parents lead them up the slope and aim for a low takeoff, mimicking a flight practice. Over here, is the crane family Ruo'ergai rescued. They are conducting flight drills too. The journey to their wintering grounds, about 800 kilometers away, demands at least 20 hours of non-stop flight. During the breeding season, the black-necked cranes, which live in family units, begin to merge into flocks. They instinctively form up quickly and, guided by a lead crane, fly in a spiral. The twin and single chick families are among them. The annual spectacle unfolds. Hundreds of black-necked cranes fly, spiral, and descend slowly, gaining altitude. Until they become black dots high in the sky. They fly southbound and eventually fade beyond the horizon. The black-necked crane population in Ruo'ergai mostly migrates south throughout Sichuan province to winter at Zhaohai in Guizhou and Dashanbao in Yunnan. Zhaohai City in Guizhou province is located 650 kilometers to the southwest of Ruo'ergai. The 1978 Wildlife Habitat Survey revealed that this area is one of the wintering grounds for black-necked cranes on the Yunnan-Guizhou Plateau at an altitude of approximately 3,000 meters. Although the lake here does not freeze in the winter, it is still considered a high-altitude cold region. A large flock of black-necked cranes has undergone a long journey and arrived at Zhaohai. Zhaohai is the heart of the wetland, covering an area of 3,000 hectares. The intact plateau wetland ecosystem makes this place a winter paradise for over 300 species of birds. At dawn, the black-necked cranes that spent the night in the shallow waters begin to move. To evade predators, they choose to live in areas far from the shore and surrounded by water. Gray cranes are also mingling among them. The ones with the neck and tail that are not black are the gray cranes. As the light of dawn breaks, the cranes begin to bustle with activity. They spend the night in groups at the center of the lake, then separate at dawn to feed. They will venture into the post-autumn harvest fields, foraging for insects, plant roots, and seeds to sustain them. The twin family has found a nice piece of farmland. Although the feathers of the two crane chicks are still somewhat gray, their size is already quite close to that of their parents.
我每天我都从这下去数黑颈鹅的数量，到黑颈鹅细细点去检查是否有危害的情况。
那经过哪里？
经过台风园。
然后呢？
然后就是不同的这个它的迁徙点，迁徙路线上，在迁徙路上补充营养啊，找点吃的，找点水果啊这些。
那些
就到Ruo'ergai。我很想跟着河走一趟，看下它的繁殖基地和我们草还是一样的。每年都想着黑颈鹅走的时间送它一趟。
As dusk embraces the horizon, the cranes return to the lakeside. And the twin family rejoin the main flock after their foraging trip. The main flock gathers by the lakeside, seemingly not far from the county town. Unlike in Ruo'ergai, here they are no longer revered as sacred birds, but more approachable and amiable. They continue to live in groups until the end of the winter. 200 kilometers west of Zhaohai in Guizhou lies another wintering ground for the black-necked cranes, Dashanbao in Yunnan. It is about 700 kilometers directly from Ruo'ergai. and sits at an altitude of about 3,000 meters. The locals cultivate crops such as potatoes, corn, and buckwheat, which serve not only as their staple sustenance, but also as a favored food for the black-necked cranes. In addition to farming, there's also herding. The weather turns cold in January, with average temperatures pushing below zero. The average annual temperature here hovers around a mere 6 degrees Celsius, and the winter often brings biting winds that chill to the bone. In 2003, Dashanbao in Yunnan was designated as the National Black-necked Crane Nature Reserve. Zhao Qiang runs a guest house opposite of the Dahaizi of Dashanbao and helps out with black-necked crane conservation. When the cranes arrive, he has a morning ritual where he verifies their numbers. If one gets too close, the black-necked cranes may become startled and take flight. Yet compared to their breeding habitats, they are considerably more approachable here.
大山坡的鹤，它有那个鹤颈鹤、灰鹤，还有前几年监测到有那个蓑衣鹤，在大山坡见过这3种鹤。今天观察到的有2种，一种是鹤颈鹤，还有那个灰鹤。现在我叫了一下，有680多只，比昨天相当于增加了200只。
At dawn, the black-necked cranes start to forage for food. Their objective is the fields during the agricultural off-season. To ensure that the black-necked cranes are fed every day, Zhao Qiang's wife also undertakes another responsibility within the reserve. She takes corn from the reserve every day and feeds them at regular intervals and places. At the sound of the whistle, the cranes all come. The chick, saved by Ruo'ergai, also heeded the call and came to feast on the corn. The family has successfully reached Dashanbao, with the chick still bearing traces of gray feathers. The B&B run by Zhao Qiang and his wife is home to many photographers who dedicate to capturing the black-necked cranes.
拍摄产品就是我们的制定的土地根基是最好的了，吃起来也比较好的，就是冷水鱼了嘛。而且还有夏天的时候了嘛，我们的烤全羊是，就是最好的菜了。
烤全羊是吧？
哎，对，烤全羊、烤鸡、烤鱼，那这个。
都是家里边养的。
哎，对。马上看这个。
Chen Guanghui was originally from a nearby village. Knowing that Zhao Qiang's mother used to feed the cranes, she took it over after she got married.
孩子每天吃完奶还要喝这个奶是吧？
只是我买菜，别的平常时间他都吃奶。就是我买菜给他，所以就拿点这个给他吃。
我就买菜的话不在他旁边，他可能饿了
啊，
是吧？
怕他饿。我们走了。妈妈走了嘎。从03年就开始喂了嘛，就是一直都是我在喂，但是去年嘛有那个小孩，就是我妈在喂。
有没有想过去若尔盖看一看那边的河？
早就想过了这个，但是没有时间。想去的话又没有时间，有时间了又带那个小孩，而且呢就说。我有一个那个想法，就是吹那个口哨的时候，那个黑颈鹤啊，它如果是我们这边的，它肯定会听我的口哨，全部都飞过来了，那个才高兴了。因为好像是08年的时候，我是救了一只那个黑颈鹤嘛，受伤的，那个是在那个湖里面，然后呢那个冰呢很厚，那个小的黑颈鹤呢，它就没得经验嘎。其他的大河呢，它就会，就晚上要睡觉的时候，那个脚杆不停的在换嘛，它就不会冻在冰头了。那个小的黑颈鹤呢，它就不会换脚，就站在水里面呢，就把它冻在里面。然后其他的全部飞过来吃，只有它一个小的黑颈鹤在一边，直接就冻在一边了。然后我就跑过来，在那个草地上，不是捡了一个石头嘛，把那个冰砸开。冰砸开了，黑颈鹤呢开始抱起来了，我自己掉下去了，掉下去陷下来就是仰拢脖子了，就，哎呀爬呀爬呀爬都爬不出来，那个天气又冷，然后拼命的爬，爬了爬4、5分钟了才爬出来，哎，爬出来就手杆靠着冰慢慢的缩出来，手都是硬的了，说话也不会说，再一弯也只会摇头，输了1个星期的液，哎才好一点。那个呢，那只黑颈鹤已经救活了嘛。就是我们这个了嘛，就是这个是做个生意，你在哪家买了嘛，就固定就在哪家买了，那个每天就好整一些了嘛。
还是1个小时40分钟。
吃的晚嘛。
我到那个街上。
4点过了才吃我们，4点过。那我们是有了。
我9点吃一盘。
当时呢是要过年了，保护区的那个技副局长那些亲自去拿来的。亲自去拿来了，拿来了他是那个翅膀，他是就受伤了，就是做那个电线杆冲了掉了，就已经一大个脓包掉了，就不能飞了。他只能就关在我们下边那个救护站。关在救护站呢，这个第1年那个黑金河，其他的全部都走了那个办了嘛，就剩了他的家人了嘛，没走。当然说是关的那个是公的，然后在外边那就是母的。
没走。
也到最后还是走了，他就晚走了2个月。他第2年的时候他就开始老是叫呀，直接看着这些黑金河一飞了，快要没得的时候了，他就叫。后来我就想哈，我说干脆用口哨跟他做的聊一下子，看他还叫不叫嘎。但是呢，我一催着我说，哎呀，你不要叫了，我说，他们走了还有我在这儿陪呢，我每天回来陪的，反正我每天我都要去喂它嘛。然后我就这样告诉他，就每天就不催了，慢慢的就停下来就不叫了，然后夏天时候了嘛，我们就会去拿那个螺了嘛，去装这个在这个壶里面的嘛，装那个小鱼倒进去给它吃。然后我就吹口哨，我说，哎呀，今天你有美食吃了，有大餐吃了。然后我就把那个小鱼吃，顺那个水倒进去，它就回来抓吃，连哄抓着吃，连哄开始，又叫又跳舞的，感觉那个脑壳一点点的，感觉就是就像人一样的，非常感谢那种感觉。后来我就慢慢的就是，就用手抬的食给它吃啊这些的嘛，它都还是都愿意都在吃了，所以哎呦，感觉去聊到有时候心情不好的时候。跑下去跟他聊一下，心情就好起来了嘛，这种的感觉了嘛是。喂了6年，他就感觉就，小时就说是肯定是就是老化了嘎，然后他就死了那感觉就都是空落落的。喂起那个黑金河，每天跑到那个石堡那里去看一下，没得了嘛，感觉都是心里面都是很舍不得的，就是感觉来。
恐怕将近500只都有。
500只左右。
啊，500都有。
When the weather is nice, the black-necked cranes will start preening and grooming their feathers. Sometimes, for a long time. If they're not properly groomed, their flight will be affected due to insulation and air resistance. The black-necked crane, unwilling to alter the orientation of its feathers, always flies against the wind. When the weather is sunny, they dance in the wind. The dance spreads all around, and the cranes all dance together. Some young cranes nearing adulthood use this opportunity to seek mates. In the flock, there are family groups and singles club. The black-necked crane, living in a harsh environment on the plateau, has only a few simple dance moves to conserve its energy. Even complex dances are composed of a combination of several simple moves. The single chick crane is also attracted, eager to join and dance with its companions. Soon, it'll join the singles club in search of a lifelong mate. After the departure of the black-necked cranes, the Ruo'ergai plateau becomes a frozen land, where only large and robust creatures can continue to thrive. Herders put their yaks out to graze early in the morning. On the boundless grassland, aside from grazing yaks, there is no trace of any other life. The yak dung they collected in the summer serves as an essential fuel for life. In the winter, the herders leave their tents and return to live in houses.
내 꾼짝서 네가 지금 듣고 저렇게 뭔가 되게
나는 죽으라니. 너는 더 뜯어서 줄까?
Winter life is not as busy as summer, offering only leisurely moments reserved for the family. Ruo'ergai and his wife came to visit their grandson. On the grasslands of Dashanbao in Yunnan, new sprouts have emerged as spring is about to begin. Animals in the village have all given birth to babies. a new year of farming begins. The black-necked cranes are also preparing to return to their breeding habitats. And after a rehearsal of arcing flights, they gradually disappear into the sky. The Ruo'ergai plateau, unlike Yunnan with fresh greenery, is still embraced by winter.
花湖围栏那边有一对黑颈鹤飞到花湖里边来了。正常来说，他们这一队以前观察到，他们也会过来觅食，但是现在这儿有3只，我们认为他们过来应该是想要把另外一只单独的孤鹤驱逐掉。今天我们过来是因为去年在我们眼前看到的这一片沼泽中，本身是有一对黑颈鹤在这儿筑巢的。我们今年就是想监测一下这一对黑颈鹤有没有回到老地方重新筑巢，并且产下新的后代。就今天上午我们看到的情况来说，它们已经回到了老的地方，但是可能由于气候或者是其他的一些原因，它今年还没有开始做巢，所以我们会过一段时间再继续来看它的情况是怎么样的。
Black-necked cranes swoop back to the Ruo'ergai grassland. So did many other waterfowls. Among them, the black-necked cranes must be the first. After surviving their first winter, the chicks return to the grassland with their parents. It's not until the second year that the chicks are old enough to live independently from their family. Sparks of love are also clashing among the single cranes. You can also accidentally bump into a couple of cranes after they've mated. They salute each other with all the grace on the bitterly cold plateau. The one jumping on the right is probably a male crane. He looks so happy.
就是说每年基本上他们都会回到，只要是比如说3、4月份回来。
就是嘛，3月时候下午8点钟就回来了，就晚上8点，我在吃饭，他叫的时候我看不到，年年都是个一样的，那边是那边，这边是这边，他位置他自己知道。
It is though that both the twins and the single chick will continue this tradition after their first winter migration. Ruo'ergai and his wife have been here for over 10 years. Every year, they wait for the black-necked cranes to return and accompany them for another year of breeding.
因为若尔盖这个以前是个湿地，湿地的话有很多的黑颈鹤，人与那个黑颈鹤语言不通，但是也有很多方面可以去沟通的，就是人要相应这个黑颈鹤的动作。我母亲他们小时候，他们说看着那个黑颈鹤的翩翩起舞的样子，他们说他们也在那翩翩起舞。这些黑颈鹤也好像真的有点了解了这个当地的人的这个风俗，所以这个时候他们就适应了这个人与自然。
The black-necked crane was once known as the mystery of the 20th century, but with the change of eras, the mystery of their survival is gradually being unraveled. The seasonal migrations and growth of newborns across 2 families, along with the enduring persistence and watchfulness of locals across 3 plateaus, collectively compose a hymn to life on this vast and majestic land. Whether twins or single chick, new life and stories will always continue, year after year, and endlessly flourish.